Suffering, Shai Gudra form does not differ from imagine it Harderani to all beings in the 3 worlds and 6 realms, and especially to Randall Schiltz, Jane Goodall, Lenore Giwant, Jackie, Richard Miller, Rosalind Neustadt, Anthony, Brian Higashi, Bryson Higashi, Stacy Garum, Robert Redford, Michael Jr., Angela Fuller, Charlie Kirk, Jessia, Graham DeVoe, Graham Green, Virginia Dervette, Lucy, James Kilburn, Richard Sisler, Mike Brenner, Barbara Gilkison, Robert Peoples, Edward Stahl, Betty Story, Michael Moss, John Gifford, Marcelo de Jesus de Mora, Lila Potter, Norbert Bybee, and to all those who have died in natural and human-made disasters, including acts of terrorism, violence, political persecution, and war, and especially to those killed in the terrorist attack in Manchester. May they be serene through the transition we call death. We also dedicate this merit to Betty Gordon, Chuck Rural, Ann Piffer, Mary B., Cindy M., Heather and Hillary Bybee, Lucy and family, David Campbell, Mother Earth. May the heart of compassion illuminate their lives. We pray that all beings may prosper and all misfortunes cease. So then, the garment kids may exit to the people hall.
morning. Morning. So we have two unnormal things to do this morning. It's quite exciting, and the first is the installation of a Shuso, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit and have a short ceremony, and then we have the leadership fair today. And I know everyone's very excited about that. I heard there's kettle corn. In this tradition, we have a role called the Shuso. The Shuso, translated from the Chinese character, means something like the head seat. And it's a position that has been in Zen temples since there have been Zen temples. At Buddha Eye Temple, we've had a Shuso one time in 2021 when Genjo was the Shuso for the practice period, and then during the mountain seat ceremony, he had a Dharma combat ceremony. So many of you were there, and you will remember that. We also have had 5 head students, and the head student is very similar to Shuso. And the first head student was Myobun, second head student was Anyu, third was Kogen, fourth was Shine, and fifth was Jikye. I didn't leave anyone out, did I? That's everyone. Oh, great. And so people have been more familiar with the role of the head student, where they take on leadership role. Actually, the koji, they do that over several years. So they will serve as the head of hall, which means they're making everything work for assembly. So, like, I don't know if you noticed when you show up on Sunday morning that there's chairs and stuff, and they're in a particular order, and there's incense, and there's a way that all of the ritual functions. So the head of hall is taking care of all of that, kind of behind the scenes. And then they would spend some time as the head of assembly. So they'll be in charge of when we have particularly a practice term, they'll run the term student meetings and do a lot of the interface with the people who are studying together. And then they become the head student, in which they focus on teaching. And they take the teaching seat usually 5 or 6 times during a practice period, and then have a Dharma combat ceremony in which they graduate from being a novice koji to being a koji, to being a teacher in this school. The Shuso's process is very similar. They're doing a little bit of all those things as a novice priest over time, and Jakuen's been doing many of those things. But then when they become the Shuso, they do that for the period of a year. For part of it is a formal period. That's during the practice period. That'll be February to May of next year. But they really serve as the Shuso for the whole year. And they are doing all of those things at once. Head of hall, head of assembly, and head student. In addition, they're taking a more total responsibility for how the ritual functions. They're also very involved in the daily workings of the temple. How does the temple work on a day-to-day basis? And also of training other novices. Really, many details and subtleties of leading a temple community. One way we could understand the role of the Shuso is that really in a comprehensive way, they become the hand and voice of the abbot. And they cooperate together with the other teachers of the temple to carry out our life together in the Dharma. That doesn't mean that I get to just escape, although I get to escape a little bit when there's a Shuso, which I quite appreciate. I get to say, go ask Jakuen, go ask Jakuen. And this is a very important formation for the Shuso themselves. They, in their ordination, they shift from being a novice, which is known as a joza, to being a zagen. And those are Japanese terms. Joza means to sit above, and zagen means to sit at the base, which is, some of those are kind of very poetic, but then also it just has to do with where you sit in the formal meditation hall. In the formal meditation hall, the head student or the zagen sits right next to the abbot. So it's like sitting at the base of where the abbot sits. But I think something which is not talked about quite enough is not just the important opportunity for the Shuso in their training and their formation as a priest, but what an important opportunity it is for the community. If the abbot's teaching is true, the head student and the Shuso's teaching will be their own. It will have their own color. It will have their own quality of light. This way is very strict because there is no mimicking. Of course, sometimes we meet someone, we're inspired by them, and we try to do things the way they do. That's good. But ultimately, it has to be our own position. It has to be our own heart. And that's for every single person in a community. And the Shuso shows that for all of us. The Shuso has to find and rely on the grace of their own step. And I use the word grace here very purposefully. It's not simply their effort, although great effort is required. It's to learn to rely on the grace of being held up by a community, by a world, by the ancestors, by the awakened mind itself. It's also an important opportunity for the abbot, an important learning, as one of the most gratifying things for a teacher is to see what you love, a light in the heart of your students. And then to see the way where you may not be clear enough. And that impacts them. Or you see the way in which they're so clear where you're not. And all of those is what makes a community really thrive. We're doing that with each other constantly. And so although the position of Shuso, the practice of Shuso, is part of a formation process of a cleric in this tradition, it's really beyond formation. It's transmission. Transmission doesn't mean that there is this very special thing which is handed from person to person. It means that there is this very special thing, this light, this jewel of every heart, which is not separate. And that illumination we trust in, and we trust in each other because of that illumination. This isn't beating something into the proper shape, although there is a certain amount of beating. Actually, during the formal practice period, and when the opening of that practice period, there'll be a ceremony in which Jakuen will receive the shippei, and this is only used for the Shuso. Shippei is it was made originally from the half of a bow, like a samurai's bow. They would cut them in half, probably old ones, and they would lacquer them and wrap them with some cord. And they were quite good for whacking people and not breaking things. I'm not saying that's what it's for now, but there was a period in which the monastic discipline, that was the part of the way that it was carried out. I'm sure there were positive and negative sides to the whole thing, but that becomes a symbol of the struggle of a Shuso to carry out the kind of mandates of the lineage and the temple and the community that they're in, and to do it with a kind of clarity that oftentimes includes plenty of mistakes. Or I wouldn't say oftentimes, always includes plenty of mistakes. maybe the final thing I would say is we also think of transmission almost always in a vertical sense, and that's true. I'm the 96th in a generation of teachers that can trace our lineage back to Shakyamuni Buddha. So in the morning service, those of you who've been here, and we chant those names, that all comes down vertically through time. And that jewel of our being is reflected through the ancestors. But it's also true that transmission is horizontal. That your heart, each of our hearts, is the same jewel that appears differently in every being. Just like the jeweled net of Indra, they're all completely reflecting each other all the time. We can't say one or we can't say not one. Trying to run a religious organization with that at the base, it's not easy. But Shuso takes up that task to say that's actually the standard. That's what we believe in, and that's how we base our action. That's how we base how it is that we practice together and care for each other. So they place that very high expectation. The Abbot places that very high expectation, and then we all endeavor to carry it out together. And the interpenetration of our being becomes the basis of how we can cooperate and quarrel and all the other things that might be part of the process. So we'll have quite a short ceremony here, and after we finish that, I'll turn it over to Jakuen, and he'll give you some invitation to the leadership fair that we have today. Jakuen, will you accept this request to take the role of the Shuso?
It is my delusion to think that I could do anything alone. And yet, when my master calls me to serve, I could run. Or I could stand myself up. No more running. Yes, I will serve as Shuso and receive the joyous burden that it is with humility, skillfulness, and respect. Thank you. For the next year, you will always sit in the front seat to the Buddha's right, as an example to the assembly. Be upright. Be hollow. Let your voice be heard.
please welcome Shuso Jakuen.
Well, I guess as my first official act, I'm so excited to invite you all to our first ever Budai Temple Leadership Fair. So those of you who are staffing a table, if you go ahead into the yard, please follow Joichi, and he'll have some final kinds of setup things to work with you on. Otherwise, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the Leadership Fair, sort of what the intention is, and hopefully this will be something that we engage in as a community annually. But several months ago, maybe over a year ago now, as part of the visioning committee at Budai Temple, we were really discussing ways in which folks throughout the community can better know and see really the hearts that are behind many of the things that not only keep the temple doors open, but also keep the temple thriving spiritually and as a community. So in that effort, we thought we would have, in my mind there were like carnival rides. This is like the season of like spooky mazes and decorative gourds. So we thought maybe in the fall, at the beginning of the year, we would have this leadership fair. And what you'll see out in the yard, we'll have some special snacks, the typical kind of coffee and treats that we would have after Sunday. But various leaders throughout the community, and that is everywhere from facilities and grounds to the koji teachers, all the way to things like the Abbot himself, myself as the Shuso, also communications office, many different roles that are functioning at the temple. And the folks who sort of, for maybe decades or for a short period of time, those people who have been leading in those areas are available primarily for you to get a name to a face, but also to talk about the various ways in which they serve the temple and help the community. We're very specific that this is not exactly like a recruitment fair, but there may be opportunities for volunteering. So if you have an interest in potentially serving a ritual role at the temple, you can talk to Joichi, who will be at the table about practice positions. So if you're interested in learning more about how to help in the garden or facilities and grounds, Kogen will be available to answer those kinds of questions as well. Really, try and just like enjoy your time together and enjoy the snacks. Are there any questions about the leadership fair so far?
So if you sign up or commit to a leadership position, so it would last the term in the best of all
Not necessarily, no. There are many different ritual roles and other kinds of volunteer roles. Some of them, like volunteering in the garden, could be a day that you come do watering or yard work. Other practice positions do require a commitment that may last a year or more. So they're all quite different. And so this is a chance potentially not to commit to something, but to learn about the different components that are available and required for training at different levels. Other questions? I'll also be at a table. I think it will say Shuso and priests. So come talk to me also if you have more questions about folks that you might want to be in touch with, etc. Okay, thank you so much. I think they're just about finished getting ready. If you want to take a quick break, coffee and snacks crew will be on that. Yeah, there's a few more questions. Yeah.
Is there any help required in helping?
Eventually, that would be
Okay.
very helpful.
Right.
Yeah.
I just want to give a quick announcement. We dug out a lot of German iris bulbs from our garden, and then I placed them outside for free. And that's just like 1/4 of what we dug out. So if you could use a lot of German irises, please come to me. And then take as many as you want from there. Thank you.
I guess, are there other announcements? The snacks would be wonderful, but I think that there's a round table already there for snacks. I have a cute balloon also. For now, it's okay. I need to just leave them and then we'll get to that later on. Okay, thank you so much.